Here I am. Rabbi Kanevsky asked me to explain to you all why it is I'm a trustee. But before I get into any of that, I first want to thank our host and hostess, David and Marcia. This is my second event in your house, and I can't wait for my third. So Orly and I have been members at B'nai David for about 20 years. We've been trustees since about the beginning, and I served on the board for 16 years.
Wait, that.
So when Rav Yosef asked me to share why we do all this, I thought it'd be easy to jot down a few notes, memorize them, and come up before you. But it turns out it's not something I thought very deeply about. I only know that we did this 1 year at a time. And it just felt good. It felt like the right thing to do, year in and year out. And before you know it, it's been a big bunch of years. So it's easy to see why we donate to help the poor. It's easy to see why we help the soldiers in Israel. It's easy to see why we donate to causes that reduce anti-Semitism here in America. But it turns out it's not so easy to know why the heck do we donate to B'nai David. I really had to give that some thought, and I even had to make some notes. So here is what the opportunity the rabbi gave me has yielded. People often think they know each other quite well, but the reality is we don't, and we can't really know one another as well as we think we do, because each of us are really many different people. Who we are at any given moment depends on our values and our story at the time. Our values are the framework, and our story is the framing, the current moment that pushes us to express those values in a certain way. Both the values and the stories change over time, and they're greatly influenced by the people who are around us. Friends, family, teachers, the media. They, over the long haul, create the values, and in the short haul, they make the story that turns out who we are. So it really depends who you're standing next to. One moment you could be one person standing next to someone who influences your Yetzer HaTov to emerge, and another moment you could be standing next to someone else who encourages your Yetzer Hara to emerge. So I might see someone on Shabbat afternoon, my proximity to them tilts them in one direction, their proximity to me tilts me in another direction. But then after Shabbat, we're with different people, and we might actually be different people. So we really don't know one another as well as we think we do. This is especially true for young people. I know everyone here knows that. And that's why the last thing I tell my kids when they go to college is choose your friends wisely. I know if they just do that one thing, they're going to be fine. Because I know they're basically very good people. I just don't want them to fall into a bad crowd. Now, a few exceptional people have really strong values that never waver. Doesn't matter who they're standing next to. They are solid. But I think these people are few and far between. I think most of us, in fact, are truly influenced. Countries are similar to people. Countries change over time. They're not just one thing. It depends. And here I have to sadly share with you something I'm sure you're well aware of. Lately, it seems that America has just been listening to the voices of its Yetzer Hara more than I can remember in my entire lifetime. I've never seen anything like it before. Our political culture and some parts of the media have certainly been less kind, less considerate, rough, and even vulgar. A loud minority of Americans express a lot less goodness to their fellow Americans than they did 10 years ago. And I'll tell you, I'm really deeply concerned about this. I don't know where it leads, but I know I don't like it. So what can we do about it? I think the answer to what we can do about it lies in the earlier observation. If more Americans stood next to Yetzer HaTov people, more goodness would result. I think we have a serious shortage of Yetzer HaTov influencers in America right now. We need more. We need a lot more. And they can't be found. You can't find someone like this. You have to create someone like this. So, I think the reason Orly and I donate to B'nai David is because B'nai David creates these kinds of people. That is really, in my view, one of the main missions of our beloved shul. Each drash, each teaching from Rav Yosef and Rabbanit Alyssa pushes and prods us to realize our Yetzer HaTov and put down our Yetzer Hara. That, to me, comes through loud and clear. Creating more of these influencers is really central to improving our lives, to improving our community, and to improving America. We've got to do it, and we've got to do a lot more of it. We, the trustees, we fund B'nai David, and we keep it affordable for people of all ages, but especially young people who maybe can't afford a membership. We always welcome people regardless of ability to pay, and that's really up to us to do. People with resources are the only ones who can do this. Now, I don't know exactly how Olam Haba works, but I'm going to imagine that after we die, we enter the afterlife, and we go through an obligatory 3-day orientation. That's how everything seems to start. And then we stand in line to be judged. And I can tell you, when I stand in line waiting for my moment, I want a BDJ member to stand next to me, because I think that's the kind of person who's more likely to bring out my Yetzer HaTov. And that's an interview I just don't want to blow. Before I pass to Olam Haba, however, I want more BDJ members to stand next to more Americans to bring out more Yetzer HaTov. I think, I donate, Orly and I donate because it feels good, and we have to keep the lights on. But more importantly, we have to make our community and our country better. And that just isn't going to happen because it's the right thing. It isn't going to happen because it's good. It's only going to happen because I make it happen. So, although it feels good year in and year out, there's really more to it than that. And this isn't something, in light of what I just said, that I want to do. It's something I really have to do. It's essential. I have some resources, so I have to do this because I want that kind of world and that kind of life for myself, for you, for my children, for all of us. And then I thought about it a little more deeply. It's not neither that I want to nor that I have to. It's really that we have to. Not me, we. Because I can't do it. It's just impossible for me to do it alone. It's impossible for anyone to do it alone. We can only do it together. So I thank you. I thank you for making me think about this, and thank you all for paying attention long enough to hear it. Thanks. Oh, I'm hugging. I'm a full-on hugger now.
All right. Well, thank you, Jeff. I add my thanks to David and to Marcia as well. And I also want to thank our group of people who kind of put this evening together. In addition to David, also Abby and Gail and Jeff. And that's right. Got it? And of course, Regina. So perhaps as how did you do this, Jeff? Were you wearing sunglasses?
But he was standing further back.
Step back a bit.
No, that's much better. Okay, that's much better. Perhaps I'm sure you've had experiences like this sometime over the last couple of weeks. It was Friday night a week ago, or Friday afternoon a week ago, when we finally had occasion to take the leaves that we had taken out of our dining room table 14 or 15 months ago, or whenever it was that we kind of conceded that there are not going to be a lot of people around this table anytime soon, and put those leaves back in and pull the table out. It brought tears to my eyes. It was the simplest things begin to be so moving. And the same has been true as we first moved back into the main sanctuary for Shabbat morning, and then we brought the kids slowly, gradually back into the building. There were children in the building, and then we moved the weekday davening into the Beit Midrash where it belongs, and that took a full month after we moved into the main sanctuary, just to kind of begin to see everyone in their accustomed places, getting choked up. Every now and then, I would need to be in the Beit Midrash during the last, many, many months to get Sifrei Torah, which were invariably flying in every direction. I promised the Beit Midrash, we are coming back. And it's very gratifying when we finally did. And all of this has led to a lot of reflection, personally and institutionally, as to where we are now and what we do now. And I'm thinking about the image from the book of Melachim, in which Shlomo HaMelech has come to the very last stages of building the Beit HaMikdash, the first such edifice that the Jewish people has ever known. And he takes care, just before the building opens and is inaugurated, to have the Kohanim bring in all of the pieces of the Mishkan. And they are, in a ceremonious kind of way, they are processed into this new building. All of the curtains and the walls, they're all folded up and put into various storage spaces in this Beit HaMikdash as a powerful signal to everyone that although this is something we've never seen before, and in fact, when David first brought up the idea, God said, what? Did I ever ask for such a thing? Did I ever have such a thing? It's new. It's new, but everything that was precious and sacred about what was old is being brought in and being stored within, so that everyone understands that what is new is, on the one hand, new, and at the same time, a continuation of the very best of what was. Over the last 15 months, we learned an incredible number of things. Many of them, as it turns out, good and useful things. We learned a lot, for example, about what a life cycle celebration is. I continue to be inspired by all of the families, and we had a lot. We had a bumper crop this year. Had you been in shul, there would have been a bar mitzvah or a bat mitzvah virtually every Shabbos. Huge Gesher group this year. And I remember, Adina, you remember it well, Rabbanit Alyssa, you were on that call too. And I credit you for your foresight. I thought this was a silly idea. But in March, we gathered all of the B'nai Mitzvah families, and we said, okay, we're not going to be in the building for at least a year. And then we waited for everyone to exhale. I didn't even believe that, but Adina, I credit you, you saw it coming. How can we work together to make your life cycle event meaningful? And one after another, families figured out how to create bar and bat mitzvah ceremonies. This was true of the birth of children, and it's true also even of when Rahman al-Itzlan, some of us were sitting Shiva during the year. How do we do this in such a way that it is meaningful, it is powerful, it is memorable, and the children themselves, these 12 and 13-year-old kids, remarkably, they got it. They understood, okay, it's not what I thought, but having these people here who are meaningful to me, doing this ceremony, which is meaningful to me, in whatever setting it is really the essence of the thing. And we learned a lot about life cycle events over the course of these 15 months and what makes them meaningful. We learned a lot about our tefillah and how people enjoy and maximize their experience of tefillah. And believe it or not, it is not identical to what we were doing before. And we've learned a lot about that. We've learned a lot, of course, about how to use technology. We've learned a lot about how to use backyards. We've learned a lot about how to use printed materials. I'm thinking, for example, about the Haggadah Companion in ways we didn't use printed materials before. We have learned enormous amounts over the last 15 months. And the exciting challenge that we are on the threshold of right now, and which will be our work in progress for the coming year, is figuring out how, as Shlomo did, to fold in all the things that were always wonderful about B'nai David, together with the things that we learned over the last 15 months, and to bring about something that is new and better and more glorious than it was before. We're thinking a lot about how we do our youth program, for example. We learned out of necessity, because when we started gathering the youth in the backyards, way back in December, January, they couldn't run and jump and be all over each other. So we had to create a program that was much more about tefillah and learning than it was before, because this we could do. And sure enough, we created something the kids enjoyed and learned a lot from. And how do we now bring this in to the familiar setting and make it into something new? And this is, and there's going to be a lot of trial and error over the course of the 12 months as we experiment with things and see what works, realizing that that B'nai David never was and certainly isn't now a monolith. People think about things in different ways, experience things in different ways, have different preferences. So there's going to be a lot of figuring out, but it is an incredibly exciting moment when we are opening a building that is at one and the same time familiar and potentially very, very new in terms of what we do in there, how we do it, and it's not newness for newness' sake. It is newness for the sake of improving and enhancing everything that we do. And here, you're the first to know. We're working now with a model that'll be unspooling very soon, in which our Shabbat morning davening is not merely more focused and efficient, which it will be, already is, but we're going to take advantage of the time we save to offer one or more learning opportunities for those who would like. And as you can go down to Kiddush, absolutely, but there'll be shiurim that are happening on different topics for 30 minutes, so that we're not only being more efficient and economical with time on Shabbat morning, but we're actually utilizing the time we save in order to expand our offerings of Talmud Torah in creative ways once people are in the building already. So this is the kind of thing that we're going to be experimenting with and offering in the year to come, and it's enormously exciting. And I share this with all of you this evening for two reasons. One is that your feedback at any and every point is extraordinarily welcome, and if you don't offer it to us, I will ask for it. You can be sure of that. How did this thing go? Did you enjoy it? Did it hit the mark? Did it not hit the mark? How should we tweak it? What else could we try? And the other reason that I share it with you is that you're the people who will make this happen. To echo a little bit of what Jeff said, absolutely. First of all, everything you said was beautiful. And I have never been more validated in my decision as to who to ask to share some words. It's what Jeff said in terms of B'nai David being able always to open membership to anyone and everyone, regardless of their ability to afford a full membership or not. That's definitely part of what you do as trustees. And the other thing that you do as trustees, and those who have served on the board know this well, we're able to start every fiscal year with confidence. Because we know going in, not exactly what our revenue is going to be, but we have a pretty solid idea. I don't remember the exact percentage, but there is a very, very significant percentage of the shul's annual budget that comes from the people here and additional people who are not here right this second, but who are very much part of the trustee circle, which allows us to budget with confidence. It allows us to hire the people who we need to hire to do the work that needs to be done. It allows us to equip those people who we hire with the materials that they need in order to do the work that they do, to raise us to excellence. This all starts and is made possible by, thank God, an expanding group of dear friends and members of the shul who, as Jeff said so eloquently, feel the importance and the urgency of making our shul a place that produces labriyut, that produces people who are the Yetzer Hatov people. It's a very high aspiration. We'll have to continue to aspire to that, but I resonate with what you said. People who we make one another better. We nudge one another to reach higher in every aspect of Jewish life and human ethical life. And tonight we gather annually to say thank you. Thank you for the support you have given over the past many years. Thank you for the support that you'll be giving over the coming year and years. And I cannot underscore what it feels like to know that we can begin each year confident that we can do the things we need to do, hire the people we need to hire, shoot high, and feel optimistic that we can achieve as many of the goals that we set out for ourselves, as we can possibly achieve. So thank you each and all very, very much. Thank you for believing in the vision, being part of the vision, and enabling us to be the very best agent for good things in our community and beyond that we can be. I will mention, Adina prepared the basic trustee fact sheets. Nothing dramatic has changed, I don't think. But they're there somewhere. Where are they? If anyone would like to...
Next to Nick.
They are next to Nick, which is an excellent place for them to be. So everyone is welcome to grab one whenever it is that you choose to leave the Nimmer's backyard, which can be tomorrow morning, from what I understand.
Post party is wild.
And I want to thank Nick for, first wishing Nick and his family a successful and joyous Aliyah, and thanking him for helping to steer the ship during what was a most unusual and hopefully the most unusual year that we will ever experience again together. And thank Adina and Rabbanit Alyssa for being the people who, when I was saying, literally, this will all be over by Pesach, I said that.
It's going to be over by Sunday.
Yeah, I didn't mean Pesach 2020. I bet 21. I meant Pesach 2020.
Sunday after Purim.
Yeah. And Adina, Rabbanit Alyssa really said, no, we've got to pivot. We've got to radically rethink what we do, how we do it. And I cannot thank you enough for the foresight that you had, because that was the first step. Kind of, what's the first step in the 12th step? The first step is acceptance. Yeah. Acceptance of the situation that we're in. And so again, thank you. Probably there's more fruit for dessert if you would like more fruit for dessert. And this is the best group of people I have ever known in my entire life, and that's just the truth from the bottom of my heart. And we love you as well. It's a good group. Thank you all. Thank you for especially those who are here for the first time. Your participation is most appreciated. And Zehu, enjoy the rest of the what is now a beautiful, cool evening.